All right. So I want to discuss, something that I've come into realizing and understanding from the years of doing content on narcissistic or narcissistic awareness, NPD, and as the ups and downsides to the whole narcissistic awareness movement thing. Of course, when I came in to making videos back in 2015, a lot of this information that is available now was not readily available then, right? And so it was a new thing. People weren't really taking it serious then. It wasn't a word that was thrown around even. You mentioned narcissism and narcissists. People like, what is that? People thought it was just someone that was highly intrigued and into themselves. But over the years, we learned, and that wasn't the case. We started learning about uh, the many different facets of this disorder, um, the different intricacies, and so forth and so on. And what I come to understand in many cases, when you attempt to understand this, is that this information, again, it's everywhere over the internet, and at a certain point narcissists themselves get a hold of this information, right? And so initially, and I was one that thought, okay, well, it will be harder for people to manipulate and trick people who are not, well, the narcissists. It would let me backtrack. So basically, I felt that by the information coming out, it would make it harder for narcissists to be able to manipulate and trick and get new sources of supply and so forth and so on. But I was sadly mistaken. And I can attest to that and speak on that now today because I've seen the evolution of narcissists within this narcissistic awareness movement. I've seen how um, this information has, you know, in some cases it's helped, a lot of cases helped people to understand what they were dealing with, but it did not stop or, completely eradicate what narcissists do and the pursuit of their new sources of supply and so forth and so on. The havoc that they wreak upon people hasn't stopped that. And what I've come to understand also is that when you attempt to treat or help a narcissist through whether it's through counseling, therapy, etc., they only learn how to become better manipulators. The info that you're getting about narcissists, a lot of it has become outdated already. What do you mean by that? Because we're learning about narcissism and all this. We know the signs, the red flags. And a lot of it's going to become, and it is become muddy. It's become, watered down because narcissists you have to understand, they're well adept at um, blending in. You see, they'll adapt before they fall completely. They'll re-strategize, they'll morph, adjust to the level of awareness that is out there and blend in from different angles and go undetectable to a large extent still. Because a lot of what we see, what people are labeling as narcissists, you have now people who've become paranoid, overly paranoid, overly hyper vigilant, in regards to running into a narcissist or encountering a narcissist and so forth. And so it it clouds the judgment. It makes that person overly suspicious for a lot of, reasons that's not even warranted with certain people. And now everyone's a narcissist now, and that's not the case. But I will say narcissists have learned how to blend in with this information that's out there. They've learned how to not display the major talking points of how a narcissist is identified. They know how to steer themselves away from that and not behave in that way to where you will immediately be able to pick them out and point them out. There's a lot of emphasis that was placed on love bombing, right? For example, if they know that this is one of the things that everybody talks about, the love bombing, right? Guess what they're going to do? They're not going to come in love bombing you. Simple fix, simple adjustment by them. You won't detect the love bombing. You won't associate it with a narcissist. They will, again, shift and mold their behaviors to what is acceptable, to what is socially acceptable, to not bring attention to themselves, unwanted attention, right? They do know that. They do know how to adjust on the fly, and, because they know if they're behaving continuously in the way that people are highly alert and aware of, they're not going to get anywhere. And one thing narcissists don't like doing is putting in a lot of this effort and stuff to a target that gets them nowhere, that doesn't pay off for them. So they're not going to stick with a losing strategy to acquire new sources of supply. So a lot of this information that's being beat into the brains of people, which is in a lot of ways becoming repetitive. No one is understanding or presenting, at least I am to you now, that the identity of the disorder has shifted and adjusted to the information and the knowledge that has been put out about them. We're talking, when did I start? 2015, almost a decade. There's been major changes in how narcissists approach sources and supply. And, if we keep harping on the same methods, tactics, you're going to be right back to square one with a misunderstanding and not able to identify. Because to a certain extent, everything is going to look the same initially. And so the one thing that narcissists can do is, a certain level of focus on behavioral modification within themselves to make sure they're not behaving in ways that's going to give red flags. And what it does ultimately, and this is my opinion, what it's doing, the information is causing them to have to now work at that behavioral type of modification. They have to be more strategic. They have to be a better manipulator. They have to be better at being undetected. It gives them something to do. And they like challenges. They love challenges. They love being able to surpass the expectations of what others may already perceive or think of them. So with this being said, they take that challenge on and they look at it as, okay, these people think they know it and got it down pat, but they're going to work twice as hard to be a much better manipulator, finesser, scammer, etc. Because overall, they still feel that this knowledge that's being put out, most of you still don't get it. All right. That's how they feel. And this is why we're seeing, the evolution of the narcissist changing, adapting, restructuring their tactics and so forth to blend in. Even this is how they've survived many years. Even psychopaths, sociopaths, they have to be very well adept and well versed in blending in to societal norms. So they look and appear to be just like you, the same as you, loving, caring, all these things, affectionate, um, moral, right? They've had to master this, century after century, because they've always been around. This is not a new phenomenon. Narcissistic people have always been around. And they've survived by adjusting and adapting to whatever the social norms are. And the general masses of society has not figured them out yet, to where they've been totally outcasted and expelled from the general society. It's impossible, in my opinion, to do that, because again, they'll find ways to blend in, to go undetected, to go unnoticed, and still manage to get victim after victim, source after source. They'll manage to con and deceive person after person from here on out, as they've always have. So this is just something to think about. And many of you who are just coming into the knowledge, it's not a bad thing. Very good for you, right? But I will say that what I've seen, a lot of the knowledge and the talking points and awareness of narcissists and what they do is being just recycled. And of course, narcissists have studied this information as well. They've studied it. They know it like the back of their hands as well. You'd be a fool to think that they haven't created different approaches, different tactics to still gathering new sources of supply. And as society as a whole become more narcissistic in nature, it's going to be even harder to detect narcissists, where the narcissist will take a strategic point of being the exact opposite of what the disorder displays, right? To even further throw an individual off. So within a society that's being very narcissistic, the narcissist, the true narcissist, takes the extreme opposite approach. And now they look like the normal ones, and everyone else looks crazy. They're going to find a way, folks. They're going to find a way to still deceive, to still gather source is a supply. It's about preparing yourselves, staying up to date with fresh information, um, and the new tactics, which I've been studying and soon to introduce new types of content on that. But just want to make sure I am giving the most accurate depiction of how that is being played out to share with you all. But again, they will make adjustments. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. Make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe. If you want a one-on-one, just click the link in the description. Shoot me a message. I'll get you information on that. Until next time, folks, have a good one.